Welcome to the end of the world, survivors. You are tuned into this station, one of the last voices on the airwaves. I'm Harper, broadcasting from a radio station that somehow still hums with life. I am no longer alone, and my friends and I are looking for the author of Robert's Rules of Chaos while we rebuild and forge new alliances. This is where we build our society. There is no going back. But as we forge forward, creating a new world order, I'll share stories of your fellow survivors and how the Robert's Rules of Chaos have helped them survive, or at least given them some goalposts to focus on. I'll be your guide through the madness, sharing the locations of safe havens, theories, and information about our new world, and the occasional existential crisis that comes with a zompocalypse. The world's gone dark, the dead outnumber the living, but we are surviving and rebuilding. The old world is gone, but we are adapting to surviving in this new world and the new rules that come with surviving the zombie menace. Stick around if you're still alive. Welcome, survivors. This is DJ Harper coming at you from the station. And today we are going to talk a little bit more about adaptation is survival, rule number 6 of Robert's Rules of Chaos. Number 6 is adaptation is survival. Our world has changed and continues to change. Anybody still alive has adapted at least somewhat to the new circumstances, and we must continue to change ourselves to fit the new environment, even as we adapt our environment to accommodate our own survival. Many old customs and comforts have become hazards in this new world. We must each examine our own customs and comforts and ask ourselves how much actual benefit they bring and how much potential cost they incur. In the old world, minor addictions were common because we lived in a world of plenty, where such addictions could be easily, even thoughtlessly, accommodated. Caffeine and nicotine were everywhere and still commonly available. But we need to keep in mind that resources are finite. That cup of coffee or that cigarette might be better saved for emergency use when a horde is at the gates that might not be cleared for hours or for days. In the old world, modesty was both a comfort and a virtue, but in the new world, it is one we will not often be able to afford without risk. Strangers need to be willing to strip down, to be checked for bite marks when reasonable. Many shelters will have limited privacy for showers and restroom usage. Music, audio communication, and podcasts or audiobooks are not only still a comfort, but are potentially more necessary than ever for survival. As mentioned, though, the sounds of humanity can bring forth the dead, and even when using earbuds or other headphones to minimize the sound that escapes to lure the enemy towards you, this form of listening can muffle your own awareness of various threats to your life. The sounds of shuffling or running feet, small auditory or even visual details you're too distracted to notice when you're caught up in the comfort of old entertainment habits. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not having a good day, folks. I'm not having a good time right now. And I try to keep things with a positive spin. I really do. In the early days when I was doing this, I honestly didn't think anyone was listening, and some of my broadcasts were a little dark. I lost myself quite a few different times, and talking to what I hoped to be other survivors never seemed real in those early days. And now that I have people and different settlements I'm working with, the fact that people are hearing these broadcasts changes the nature of them because I want to be encouraging, because everything we're doing is so difficult right now. Rebuilding is difficult. Living day in, day out with the zombies is difficult. Dealing with people who don't care about Robert's Rules of Chaos at all and just want to take and maim and kill and hurt has affected my mood. It really has. Infighting that happens among survivors over the stupidest crap is just mind-numbing at times, and I'm not in a good mood today. And, I listen a lot to Queenie and Priya and Malcolm, and I take their advice on this podcast. There's a lot of information that I don't give because we don't want it getting out there for raiders or enemies to come after us. We don't need people to know what our actual numbers are. We don't need people to know more than if they come and want to be part of a society, there are places like the plant, like the station, that will happily take them in, and they can get the details once they are members of our society. But, giving out too much intel over the airwaves to people who want to harm us is a very, very real threat. And it angers me on multiple levels. And the first level is we would happily share. There's no reason to steal from the plant. There's no reason to steal from the station. There's no reason to steal from any of our network of communities because we would happily share. And even knowing that, even me saying that on the radio over and over and over again, people show up having heard the show. They show up wanting to kill us, wanting to take from us, wanting to wreak havoc because rather than rebuild, all they know how to do is destroy. And I am beyond sick of it. I am beyond sick of it. I kill enough zombies on the regular. I don't want to have to kill humans too. And so many times I am forced into that situation. And I hate it. And I hate the people who make me into having to be the person that kills raiders. I don't like it. And, not for nothing, I'm not the one actually pulling the trigger, but I'm usually the one saying we need to, depending on where my lookout station is. And I know that this last rule I've read is adaptation. Adaptation. And so I need to adapt to being the type of person who goes, oh, I can see the truth of this situation. These people are going to kill us. They want us dead. They would rather die themselves than work in a society with us. They would rather have a short-term solution than build something long-term and something that lasts. And I'm furious. I'm furious about it. We have had in the past week 2 different groups of raiders come through the station and try to take us out. And you would think, listening to this show, they would know that we have people in spots all over the station, inside and out, that are there in readiness to kill them if they are going to kill us. Primarily, they're there for zombies, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to take out humans who come with ill intent. And I can read the truth of their intent via video. We have solar powers, so we do have a video system where we can see who's coming. And I can see by looking at it whether they intend to kill us or not. The second they open up their mouth at the front gate, no matter where I am, if I am within radio distance, I'm listening. And I can tell the truth of their intent. And so it falls to me to say whether these people live or die by their own stupid mindset. And we always give them a choice. We always give them the choice. We always say, hey, let us do a bite check. Come in, have dinner with us. There's lots of different settlements. We could find a settlement that's right for you. And it's not like we're asking people to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week for nothing. We actually, most people here and at the plant, put in about 4 hours a day working and only do that 4 or 5 days a week. Like when we're pulling in crops, yes, there's a lot more work during that time period. But after we have everything canned and everything, set up to be stored, there's so much time off. Like, yes, during harvest seasons, we're going to be working probably more like 6 to 8 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week. But then after that, we're probably only going to be working a couple of hours a week, and it's sentry duty. It's hanging out outside or at a watching post or listening post, letting us know when zombies happen. I just don't understand. And the part of adaptation that I am failing at right now is adapting to the fact that there are people who will always want to kill and take instead of being part of society. That there are people who will always think that it is easier to use a gun or their fists to get what they want than simply work with us. Just work with us. That's it. And, you don't want to do planting, you don't want to do harvesting, fine. Take care of the cattle, do sentry duty, teach people who don't know how to fight. Like, there's something for everybody. If you were a nurse, teach that. Help us learn more. We even have some people who can't do a whole lot of physical labor. There are storytellers. They read books to the kids. They read books to all of us when we're working. We have something for everybody, and people still want to come in and take instead of be part of it. And we had a raiding party come in 2 days ago, and it was a big one. There were probably about 20 people, all heavily armed. And they did the same shtick we've heard a million times of, oh, we've been looking for a place to settle. Oh, we really want to be part of your community. And lies hit me with almost a physical blow. I can feel it, and lies are putrid. It is almost painful when somebody is lying. I mean, it actually is painful when somebody's lying. It's like being pummeled with fists when somebody is lying, only, instead of it's my brain that's pummeled. I don't even know how to explain it. But the lies hurt. And the lies hurt in part because they're so obvious. Like, the people who have come haven't even been creative with it. It's very much a, well, come out here and talk to us. Oh, they want us to come out there and talk to them so they can take one of us hostage, put a gun to our head, and then come in and take everything that we have worked for months to build. And no, we're not doing that. We will never do that. And even if I weren't here, there are other people in this group, in the plant, other places, that they know if somebody's telling the truth or not. I'm not the only truth demon out here, and I'm not the only truth demon working with our people, working with the communities that we are networked together. Every community has at least two, and that includes this one. At least. So even when I am out doing errands for Queenie and Priya and Malcolm, there's still somebody here that can see through somebody else's lies. And we have a no tolerance policy. If you come to our gates and you're going to hold a gun at somebody's head, we'll basically say, you can be part of our group, but you have to come in after laying down your weapons. You have to let us do a bite check. And if you don't want to do that, you are welcome to go along your merry way. But if you don't leave and you keep pushing things, you will be killed. Period. We'll do it in such a way you don't turn into a zombie, but that's not for your benefit. That's not because we give a crap if these raiders, these evil people, live or die. It's because we don't want them turning into zombies we then have to fight on top of them coming to take our stuff. And I don't understand it. At this point, we have been dealing with zombies for 2 years, and the raiding parties are fewer and fewer and fewer in number all the time. You know why? Because we kill them. because they die, because they are too stupid to adapt to working with others instead of working against others. These are the people who had zombie survivalist fantasies all their life, because then it could be survival of the fittest. Then it could be the biggest, baddest whoever gets to eat everybody else's cookies. Then brawn over brains. Then it could be might makes right. And that's just not the case. It's not the case. Humans are pack animals. Everybody that has at the station at one point or another was on their own. Whether it was in ones, twos, or threes, they were isolated. They were isolated because everybody else died. Everybody else died. We're it. We're all that's left here because everybody else is dead. Okay? And I hate to say it that baldly, and I hate to say it that in your face, because I want us all to survive and I want us all to have hope. But the truth of the matter is the world that we used to have doesn't exist anymore. It is dead. It is gone. And it is devouring the rest of us. And all we have is each other to fight it off. And if you're not going to be part of that, you aren't going to survive. You're not going to survive. You can't. It just isn't going to happen because you need other people. All human beings need other people or you go crazy. And you have a group of a couple dozen people and you're still marauding. You could have a functional community with just 24 people, with just 6. I mean, come on, the station started with 3. For months, it was just 3 of us. 4 if you include Violet the traitor. But let's not include her in anything ever because of the evil, all right? I just cannot believe somebody as morally bankrupt as Violet was given the powers of exploding the zombie heads. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But this anger started with her because she could have stayed. She could have built something with us. She could have been the friend that she pretended to be. She didn't have to sell us out to whoever those guys were. Those guys are dead, by the way. All of them. The only person that survived any of that longer than a month was Violet. The rest of them, they're dead. Because in this world, you can either cooperate or you can die. Those are the options. And the people who are not picking up on that are not adapting to the circumstances. And Robert's Rules of Order, I'm not reading these rules for my health here, people. I'm not. I'm not reading them because I just like the way they sound. I'm reading them because those of us that are left have to have common ground. We have to form a common culture of survival. And that survival has to be based on cooperation. That survival has to be based on helping other people, even if you can't see the other people. That's why everybody deserves a last meal. Everybody deserves to eat. That's why no matter where we go, we leave enough food for people who come behind us. Everywhere we go, that is what we do. Because we're trying to build a culture where we all survive together. That's why I'm reading these stories about each rule, because I'm trying to bring home how these rules have saved people, how these rules have kept people alive, and how not following these rules gets people killed every time. You know, like you're not leaving food for the next person. The next person might die because of it. Of starvation. We've seen people come through with starvation so bad we have to start them out on broth because otherwise they're going to be sick if they eat solid food. We have seen people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've all seen it too. You know, at this point, if you are still alive, what starvation looks like because we've all seen it. Most of us have experienced it. I mean, there's a reason why the first thing I did was stockpile food. You know, and I always left directions for where to find the food because I didn't want anybody else to starve if they came through this town. And the people who come through wanting to do the Raider Act, the Marauder Act, the "Hey, let's steal everything. Hey, we're big bad pirates" act, they don't survive. And they're all akin to I remember there being that group of men who came and burned down that mom and pop supermarket, and there was no reason to do that. They didn't do it to attract zombies and kill them. They did it for whatever reason, but none of those reasons were about survival. It was about destruction. It was not about building. It was about destroying. And when your focus in this world is on destruction, you're not going to survive. And quite frankly, you don't deserve to. You can be helpful. You can be a force of good in a world that has gone to crap. Because again, I put a pretty good spin on things because I want us all to survive and I want everyone to see that there is hope. But it sucks. Not having the world we used to have sucks. It is not fun here. Nobody really wanted any of this to occur. But we're stuck with it. And we have to adapt to it. And part of that adaptation is cooperation. And I know every movie and every TV show we saw, it was about who was the best shot and who was the toughest SOB out there. And that's why those are fiction. Because in reality, survival isn't survival of the fittest, it's survival of the group. The plant will survive whatever marauders come their way because they have a group of people that are going to make sure that their group survives. The station is going to survive whatever raiders come our way because we have systems and backups in place of those systems to make sure of it. And we did it through cooperation. We do it through working together. We do it by nobody being out there by themselves. And, you know, this last group that came through, all of them ended up being toast. All of them. Every single one of them. And normally when we have a group of marauders or raiders, there are quite a few of the people who are there unwillingly. That wasn't the case with this last group. With this last group, it was like a bunch of sociopaths found each other and decided, let's do some damage. And all of them died because of it. Priya is not the only person who can sit in a tree with a gun and take somebody out. She's not. And guns aren't the only weapons we have. And once the gunfire goes off, the zombies come. Every time. It's a little maddening, actually, because zombies will show up once the gunfire starts, and I could have sworn that there was no zombies in our vicinity. The zombies are always there. It's just we don't always see them. But gunfire, man, the zombies turn out. And not everybody in this group got taken out by us. The zombies came and did cleanup. And we let them. We let them. And that's a horror in and of itself. One of the ways I have had to adapt to the world is being okay with certain people getting eaten by zombies. And it brings bile to the back of my throat to even say it. And I know this is a much angrier, much more depressing broadcast than I normally send out. But it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Because one of the key ways that people need to adapt to this new world is by realizing it is not going to be you against the zombies and you against other survivors. If you attack other survivors, you just aren't going to be among the living. You just aren't. There's too many of us at this point. There are too many Southern Illinois is sparsely populated, my loves, my fellow survivors. It is sparsely populated. And in this sparsely populated area, we have several communities. I personally know of dozens between here and throughout Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. There are dozens upon dozens and more forming every day. And all of them have someone like me who can see the truth and take people out before they can even reach for their weapons. All of them. All of them have Robert's Rules of Chaos as their guiding principles. All of them. All of them are unwilling to lose a single member of their society, even members that don't get along with each other. They're not willing to lose each other at all to a bunch of thieves. All of them. In a sparsely populated area. You get to the denser populated areas, what are you going to find? Probably the same thing, just with more. So, this group did not survive. A couple dozen people, maybe 3 dozen people, did not survive. We did get horses out of the deal. I kind of wonder sometimes if I'm ever going to not be building new stables. But we got horses, so we're going to divvy them up between the various communities. We got their supplies, we got their guns, we got their ammo, we got their knives. Everything they had is now ours to do with as we please, because they could not adapt to working cooperatively with other people. They just refused. And that was one of 2 groups this week. The other group was only 6 people. We gave them a shot, and 2 of them survived because 2 of them were clearly there not willingly. And it was 2 women who basically were kidnapped by a group of 4 men. And the 2 women survived because they said immediately, "Hey, we're willing to come in. We're willing to come in and do a bite check." And I got a read on them. And the 4 men were taken out before they had a chance to even grab their weapons, which is what happens to every group that tries to come here and steal from us. Every time. And that's not me hyping it up. That's not me going, "Oh, we'll take you out." That is me telling you the reality of what happened. Malcolm has dealt with this. The Pikers have dealt with this. All of the various groups, even the high ropes course people, who are very well hidden, have dealt with this. And the raiders, the thieves, the sociopaths do not survive the encounters. They just become food for the crows, vultures, and other carrion eaters. Period. So one of the ways I have had to adapt to this new world is to be okay with it. And I'm failing at that. But it is the reality, and I need to be okay with it because there are some people that no matter how hard you try, you cannot reason with. You cannot get them to see the reality in front of them. And the way they need to adapt is to realize that humans in communities went through hell to get to these communities, and therefore they will fight viciously to protect them. So many people get here, and their relief is so huge that they're practically in tears or are completely in tears. The number of people who have come in, had a hot shower, had hot food, and then broken down sobbing because finally they are someplace where they can sleep, where they can rest because they know somebody else is watching out for the zombies, is literally all of them. All of us. you don't give that safety up to a bunch of jamokes who are going to kill you because they want your stuff. If they wanted to join the community, they would have all of the stuff, they would have all of the food, they would have hot water, they would have various electrical items, they'd have movie night, they would have popcorn, they would have all of the stuff that they would want to steal whenever they want. But that's not what they did. And because of that, they didn't survive. And if you're the type of person where you would rather steal and destroy in a world where there are so few people left, you don't deserve to be part of the new world we're building. You don't deserve to survive. But if you're like me, if you're like the other people here who are trying desperately to rebuild, trying desperately to figure out a way to survive in a world full of zombies, as usual, what I have to say to you is survive, survive, survive. We will find you. You will find us. You will be welcomed into a community, and you will be part of the process of building anew, of building from the ashes that have been left to us. This is DJ Harper. Until next time, saying survive.